presentation. As Martin has already mentioned, I'm Petr Kolář. I'm the project lead of Arma 3, and I'm going to tell you something about Arma 3 and the strategy we use for DLC. So, what's in? First, I'm going to discuss the scope of Bohemia Interactive and Arma 3. Then I'll do some brief domain analysis of what's the DLC strategy in different games. Then I'm going to speak about the implementation we choose, and afterwards there are some results of it and the public reception, and at the end you may possibly ask the questions and win some prizes. So, let's start. Our scope. What's Bohemia Interactive? Bohemia Interactive is now quite a huge company, which was founded in 1999, and currently we have over 260 employees. We grew rapidly in the last months, years, because 5 years ago it was like 70 of us, and now it's twice the number. We have offices all around the world, and we have the vision of curiosity, creativity, and community. So we try to make games that are appealing not only on the surface, but even have some depth in them. For example, the first game, Arma Cold War Crisis, or Operation Flashpoint as you may know it, there was a mission when you need to orient yourself according to the stars, according to the constellations, when you wanted to go somewhere because you didn't have even compass, not a map. So, and we have a tank, obviously, that's great. This is the whole Arma 3 team that was working on the project like 2 years ago when we got the tank. The tank is called Edita, and we really love it, and it's cheese on our promises. So, about Arma 3. The game was released roughly 4 years ago, because I think next month it's going to be 4 years since we entered the early access. We were actually the first title that was in early access because we were there 2 days before that started. Then Valve started the program itself, and we were in. It's the authentic military sandbox game, which means that you can do everything in it. The main selling point is that we have large terrains, and by large I mean huge. Because, for example, the latest terrain we have, it's 30 by 30 kilometers, and when you compare it, for example, with GTA, it's 100 times bigger. Great. And we have our own proprietary engine, so that has its own advantages and disadvantages. The good thing is that we are able to modify the game as we wish. And even the community out there, as I've mentioned, community is one of our pillars, is able to mod the game, create something that they would show to others, be it missions, assets, everything. And the game itself is a huge platform for extensions, because tomorrow Eugene Harton is going to have a presentation about DayZ, and that's all started as a mod of Arma 2. And as you may see, people quite like the game, they are playing it a lot. I've seen several people who had like 6,000 hours on record playing the game. We've done some math about that, and we have realized that that means that they were playing the game for 8 hours every single day. Great. So, when I speak about DLCs, what do you imagine? The Mona Lisa painting, DLCs everywhere, stuff like that. So if I've chosen a different painting, it's the same. So previously we had the game, everything was in, and then we did some expansion packs. Now you have the game in a different format, just something to pack the expansions in. We didn't want to go that way. We wanted to be the whole game, and then having some extensions that provide something more on top of it. So, when you take a look, for example, on Battlefield, then when you don't have the DLC, you need to buy it before you go to the server. Okay? So that splits the community because there's plenty of DLCs, and you need to think before you join the game. Hey, do I own the DLC? Don't I? May I go to the server? Guys, I have some friends, but they don't have DLCs. how should I play? May I play this map or not? That's a confusion for the players. And then, obviously, there's another issue, like as in Destiny, because some of the DLCs are released even in the game itself, and then opened later on. Destiny had the issue that the first game had the first expansion in it, and the players were even able to unlock it, and then they realized, nah, we cannot play it because we don't own the DLC that has not been released yet. So during the time guys were producing the game, they already knew that there's going to be a DLC. That's okay. They knew what was going to be in. That's okay. And then they even were able to make it into the game and then sell it separately. That's not that okay for the players. When we were working on Arma 2, we chose a different approach, having some light versions of the models. That was not that great in the end, because what we tried was, okay, let's have the assets for everyone, and people who don't own the DLC are going to have lesser quality of the textures, lesser quality of the models, lesser quality of the sounds. That was quite a good idea, because everyone was having the assets, so they were playing together and they were happy. Weren't they? Nope. Because, obviously, most of the people didn't know about that approach. So, they went into the game, hey, there's some shitty looking soldier there. What does it do in my game that I bought? Okay, that's an issue. And the second thing is that obviously people learned that, okay, everything's for free, so let's have it that way. We needed to change that for Arma 3. When I speak about DLC strategy, I definitely need to mention some notable games, for example, The Witcher, because when you take a look on that game, they have 16 DLCs for free. That's great. They still have the expansions, and the expansions are huge. Like, every expansion adds roughly 60 hours of gameplay, but the cosmetic stuff, like DLCs, they are for free. I think that's the great approach. The only thing is that it works only in single player, and Arma 3 is multiplayer, sandbox, everything moddable, so you won't be able to do that. And obviously, we need to earn some money. And when I take a look on TIA, The Awakening, they have quite a great article on Gamma Sutra about how they make their DLC strategy, because they decided to release the DLCs for free, and that helped them a lot during the development and helped them a lot with the public reception of the game. So, how did we make our DLCs? Let's first mention the goals we had. So, first thing we decided is not to have any split on the servers. So, whether you own the DLC or not, you should be able to play on the same server. We decided that we don't want any visual degradation, because we did that previously with the light version, and it didn't work well. We decided that we don't want any data separation, because with the light version, we had to provide both versions to the players, and it was distinctive. And even we did some, let's say, errors while delivering that, and when we were delivering the second DLC, the PMC, which was mainly about the campaign, the guy responsible for packing the stuff made a mistake and provided the campaign for all the players, not only for those who owned the DLC, but even to everyone. So there was no step back, and everyone had the campaign for free. Okay, that happened. So we don't want that to happen currently. And one thing that we wanted to ensure is the future-proofing of features. That means that if we provide some new feature, for example, swing loading, when you can hang something under your helicopter and transport some buggy or something like that, some car, then we want everyone to have access to that, because then we can build on that in the next missions. And obviously we wanted to be generous, but we wanted wanted to earn some money. Actually, being generous is a good way how to start when you think about DLCs. So, what did we do? We started with the same data. So, everyone has the data of the DLC in their own game. That means that when we add, for example, the cards, as we did, as a testing DLC, everyone, no matter if he owns the DLC or not, has the data in the game. Then we needed to protect the data because our community is able to work with the data and to modify it. So we had to start with some encrypted data format, and that format was quite good in the end because we were able to streamline it down in the engine, and the engine is able to load encrypted, non-encrypted data at the same speed, which is great. On the other hand, people weren't able to know how the data look like. So as we wanted them to modify the data, for example, changing the textures of the model and stuff like that, because they really like that, we needed to provide the samples for that. So that added some additional work for us. We decided to have features for free. Like everyone, no matter if he owns the DLC or not, is going to have the features. So we've added bipods because they were most requested by the community. Advanced flight models, everyone can fly with the advanced flight models, no matter if he owns the DLC or not. The same goes for the sound update and for the changes of the weapons. Yeah. What's paid are the assets. And we are trying to let the people know, hey, you are playing with some asset that you haven't paid for. Because usually, when you try to go into the vehicle or pick up the weapon that you don't own, there is a small pop-up like this that reminds the guy, hey, you don't own that. That's okay. That's the subtle reminder. Then in some missions you are able to get in those, and that's on purpose. Like there are some scripting commands to do that, or if you do your mission in the editor, you can go directly in that. And there are some template missions that let you try the time trials with the cards. And you are then just reminded during your pay that you didn't pay for that asset, but you enjoy it. And if you enjoy it for a long time, then we are there with not so subtle reminder, because if you have those icons all over your screen, you are reminded that you don't own that. And I can imagine guys playing King of the Hill and picking up some marksman rifle, then having the signs aligned on someone, and then suddenly the pop-up here. They are reminded that they didn't buy the rifle, but they still use it, so they may consider buying it for the next time, because otherwise they won't hit shit. And with that, we needed to communicate it clearly. So we've made several development blocks that explain the whole strategy, and we've tested that with the charity, because the first DLC we've done was the Cars DLC, and we've given 1 million Czech crowns to the Czech Red Cross from the earnings of that DLC, because we wanted that just as a test bed, and it was quite well received by the community. We've even made some survey, and according to the survey, 65% of people who answered the survey thought that our DLC strategy is better than the other strategies they know about. Maybe they don't know about the other DLC strategies, I don't know. But yeah, that was quite a positive response. So, when you take a look on the goals, we don't have any split on the servers, we don't have any visual aggregation, we don't have data separation, we have the features future-proofed, and we are quite generous because everyone can play with the assets, but they are subtly, and sometimes not so subtly, reminded that it's not for free. So what was the public reception? You can guess. 65% like the strategy according to the survey, but still there are some vocal minority that wants everything for free. They don't want ads in their game. They don't think about it like, okay, thanks to that we've added some new content, and I'm using some content that I didn't pay for, but I have ads. That's strange. Yeah. And then we had the issue with the price level communication, because at the end, when you pay just for the assets, and there's just a handful of them, like in the helicopters DLC, we had 2 helicopters for €12, which is quite a lot. But still, we've added the advanced flight model, sling loading, many things on top of that, improved our old assets to have the new technologies. But yeah, it's hard to communicate that to the player, that they pay for those assets, and even something for all the other players. As I've mentioned, with the cards DLC, we had something for a charity, but people were strongly against, like the vocal minority, strongly against having cards, which is something for fun, in their military game, because yeah, you cannot simply have cards in the military game. On the other hand, it was quite successful DLC, and people bought it a lot and liked it a lot. So that was the community reception. And with the community, they always like to do something extra. So this is the epic split from the trailer for the cards, and they've done it as Steven Seagal did it in the advertisement. So some takeaways from this speech: be generous. That always helps. Like if you provide community with something for free, they are going to give that many times back to you. Communication is the key. Like you definitely need to communicate clearly what are you doing, and then there's going to be some mixed but rather positive reception by the majority, and not necessarily the vocal minority. Do the research, like do the domain analysis, and know what's out there, because there are several companies who do this right. And then at the end, validate the outcomes. That's most important, because yeah, that's why we did the survey. That's why we keep the check on how many DLCs were sold, and it's actually quite good. So, if you have any questions, there are some topics you may possibly pick, or feel free to ask your questions.